office facility, and it's really not substantial enough to continue going forward with our beach bathing program as we want to do.
And Joe, we have preliminary design work that we could share before tomorrow if you'd like to see.
Yeah, that would actually be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can email that.
I think Saturday we're going to...
Yeah, more?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, it's preliminary.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Subject to
just
change.
so there's, like,
Absolutely
a
subject to
general
change.
idea of
You
what it's
can
gonna
see,
look like.
right, you can see the thought that's been put into it thus far.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
The next item on your agenda is letter E, review of agenda items for Wednesday, May 27th, 2015, regular meeting. All right, any questions, concerns, or comments
I
about the
do,
content?
actually, sorry. I should
I do
have
too,
had
I
it out.
think.
I'll start then. 2015-213. This is awarding a contract, I believe, as far as getting rid of the sludge from the sewer plant. Now, this is something I've been asking for close to a year and a half. It's something that I've been supposed to maybe going to Freehold about, because we've been paying outrageous rates without a contract for a year and a half. So we finally, after prodding for a year and a half, we went out for bids, and lo and behold, the company that we've been paying these outrageous rates to, SpectraServe, was underbid by substantially, and we're no longer using them. Can I get, or we get, how much money we wasted in the past 18 months by not renewing this contract sooner?
I'll discuss that with Finance Officer tomorrow.
Okay, then 2015-214.
Can we just stop on this one real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jim.
So, I had a question on it as well. So, Accurate Waste Systems was the lowest bid? Is that right? That's what we went with?
That's, yeah. Mhm.
And then it says, whereas it has Passaic Valley Sewage Commission. I was confused.
That's where the sludge is going to be hauled to.
Okay, so they okay. That was wrong. I thought it was two separate. Okay, that's where they halted.
Yeah, this is just the transporter.
Right, okay. I can get it when I read it.
So 2015-214, competitive contracting process to procure vendors to operate various concessions on the beach within the city of Asbury Park. The only thing I would ask on this is the same thing we've done with anybody who opens up changes in the central business district. That language we put in there, they pay all legal fees also.
Can I just go back to the dredging project, Tony? Why do we have to declare, this is a general question, why do we have to declare the state of emergency for that?
Because there's $1 million grant that they're asking for an extension through both the New Jersey state and the federal government, and the quicker they have our approval, the quicker they can start asking for that extension, because the money's supposed to run out July, and they're asking it to go to December 31st. So they're asking us to do this as soon as possible, so they can start their procedure trying to get this deadline removed, and if not, we just blow $1 million.
Okay.
Back to the one John was asking about. Is that just for general concessions, or is that for specific?
I didn't know myself.
Was that like for food trucks, or is that for general concessions, like
I
pop-ups?
thought it was like the beach, maybe. I was just assuming.
Right, this is what we were talking about earlier, the yoga coming in. Last council meeting, we had a presentation about the massage therapist. All right, these were included in that.
So we have a resolution below establishing the fees related to special events. And this one is authorizing to implement competitive contracting. So we're doing both. We're changing the fees and we're doing a competitive contracting process for when they come to the beach.
when Tom Gilmore came before you at a prior council meeting, and
But this had to do with the lady.
there was a massage therapist that he was
Right.
out who would come forward,
Right.
who wanted to do something that was more akin to the concessions that you have.
You're going to continue to talk. It's really getting very difficult to hear.
The proposal was something that was more akin to the concessions that you currently have, like the pedal boats, the paddleboard, and the surfing, where it was going to be every day, and they were going to be using
That's
city
right.
property
Right, okay.
to basically make private profit, as opposed to the special events process, which was, let's say, a yoga
Right,
instructor
okay.
wanted to do it once a week on specified dates throughout the summer, then they go the special events route, and they pay the fee that's in this resolution, versus the concession where they're going to be open from like 8 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, using the beach to basically make money. So it's very broad because we weren't sure exactly what types of operations you were looking to move forward, but this allows, when we write the RFP, to, based on your feedback, put it out there and see who comes in, what they propose, and then you reserve the right to award or to not award at a future meeting. What we don't have in here is a minimum bid, because we weren't sure what you would want to charge.
Right.
Because we don't have any models apparently from other towns, so that's why we're not sure,
And again, I'm just asking that we include the pay for legal fees. And next year, I believe the 3 vendors, be it the stand-up paddleboard, be it the ducks on the lake, and be it the surfing, all contracts are up next year.
They're all up. This is the last year for all.
And next year, I'm going to ask that we do put a minimum bid, we do include legal fees, and we do include a year's worth of escrow, like the city always did for 100 years when they owned every pavilion. If you rented a building for $20,000 a year and for 10 years, you gave $20,000 for the first year, and you put $20,000 in escrow in case you skipped town on the second year. And we don't have that, and we don't have minimum bids, where some of the leases we have, it costs us more in paperwork than what we're making. So next year, I'm going to be asking for minimum bids. On this one, you're right, we don't know what anybody's, we had one request that went to special events, we said, no, send it here. So, okay, I'm in agreement.
Anyone else?
I had another, the 2 RTV four-wheel drive.
What are those?
I looked them up. They had like a variety of things, so I couldn't tell. It wasn't like the police, whatever they were.
No, they're litter scooters, I believe.
They're litter scooters. Okay, because they have like
So
a...
you're sure? You
No,
said you were-
no, I believe, and thank you. And now, my question is, are they litter scooters, or are they all-terrain vehicles that we're going to convert into litter scooters?
I believe they're going to be converted into litter scooters.
How long is that going to take, and how much more is that going to cost? And do we blow, why not just buy litter scooters?
Well, when you go to their website, right, they've got like 30 or 40 different models. And the prices range from, I mean, the prices range from like a couple $1,000 to these things that are 13 or 14 a piece. So I was just wondering what we're using it for, so we could like just, I just didn't know.
Well, working in DPW, a litter scooter is, believe it or not, the backbone of the department.
Right, no, if it's that, it makes sense to
You can
me.
get in the alleyways, but I don't want to buy something for $25,000 that all of a sudden we blow the warranty because we take a torch and we cut off the back and we put on one of our old hoppers that's 15 years old. Why not just buy the finished product?
I'll check on those tomorrow.
And again, I don't know if they have to be four-wheel drive, because they usually don't go out in the snow to pick up leaves and snow, and you can't put plows on them, so why do we need four-wheel drive litter scooters?
Right, the ones that look like litter scooters look pretty cheap on the website. But
Oh, yeah?
maybe through a different process, so who knows?
Mr. Garvison, would you like to chime in?
I think they plan to put a small plow in to plow sidewalks. And I think if they can get 2 of those litter scooters, like the price of one, if they bought out, So they're trying to take advantage of some of the, recycle some of the equipment that they have. And, on a chassis, a 4-wheel drive chassis. And I think it makes economic sense. And like I said, from what I'm gathering, just talking to B and Cheney, that they want to put a plow on to
Okay.
get more utility, not just,
Well, that would make sense why they're four-wheel drive, but,
yeah.
okay, so if you can get us that information, because I don't see any plowing, so I guess we're going to buy the plows next year.
I got the impression they were going to have to do this winter.
Okay, but I mean, they're not included in this,
They may not be, but
okay.
they could be, an item that's attached. It's not like the larger plows and the bigger trucks either, so it's substantially cheaper.
No.
And I don't know exactly, it's maybe $1,000, $1,200 for the plow, so I'm just, an educated guess.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
I had questions about the appropriations, but I sent them to Ricky. So I'll just wait till he gets back. The temporary appropriations.
Yeah, there's
Very appropriate.
there's no
Yeah.
good answer. Except it just looks like they're underfunded some numbers and they're increasing. Where's all that money coming from?
I don't know.
That's a question. Like, I guess, are you going to talk to Ricky about that? Usually, like appropriation transfers, it's like going from A to B. These are all going from A to A. And it's like this, I don't have it in front of me, it's like a $600,000 increase. So where's this $600,000 coming from?
Where's it coming from? That I'll check with Rick.
Or is this
Or like senior centers, like a $10,000 increase.
no, they're all together?
Yeah.
The issue with the senior center is that our maintenance, our quarterly maintenance fee came due.
Okay.
And that in itself is $40,000.
And do we amend these quarterly? Is this done every quarter that we're going to?
During our
Until our
temporary
budget passes,
budget,
right?
until we adopt our regular budget.
So that would be a question for Ricky also. Is this to fill in the gap of a temporary budget, or is this exceeding his, he applied for, we submitted a regular budget. So is this money up and above the original budget, or is this included in the regular budget?
No, this would be included in the regular budget.
Okay.
And when should we expect the numbers? Maybe from the state for the budget?
Probably at the same time Christie gives it to the state, June 30th.
That's the deadline, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any others?
On the agenda items or other
Yes,
questions?
on agenda items.
No, nothing for me on agenda items.
Okay, moving to your next matter. All right, letter F, matters from the city council.
I don't have anything.
I have a number of things, but I'm clarifying a couple of updates to give, and I think Joe is as well, for Wednesday, just on vacancies and some projects that were asked about. We thought we could give a little overview. But I'm gonna do it Wednesday because I'm still waiting for a follow-up, just for example, on abandoned properties or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do the same on Wednesday.
Okay, I have, I think, good news. The copper caper has been closed by the state of New Jersey, and so Madison Marquette can now get their insurance money and replace the copper as soon as possible. So that was, we found that out today, so
That's great news.
until the state closed it, Madison Marquette couldn't do anything, so the state closed the case today. Tony, where do we stand as far as the cameras?
We're waiting on the MOU. We're still waiting on the MOU through the Board of Education.
I will follow up with the board. They were providing a term sheet with information to make sure that we had everything in there that needed to be included. So.
Can we put that on the fast track? I think the Board of Education contribution is like $17,000, and meanwhile, we're going on like 2 years without cameras. I'd rather say, hey, Board of Education, guess what? You missed the train. We're going to do it without you, and we'll come up with the $17,000. It's just getting like, I'm sure Jennifer Beck, who helped us get $250,000 towards this project, is not too pleased that we keep on postponing this over $17,000 also. I asked Tony about the status of the lights and the missing lights all along the beachfront. 3rd and Kingsley, 6th and Kingsley. It's not a question like, do the lights work? There are no lights, and we have these raggedy stop signs, and it's an accident waiting to happen, and we're going to get sued. And if Sandy was 2.5 years ago, since Tony has the questions, did we apply for Sandy money? Did we get it? And why haven't they been replaced? And when will they be replaced? The last thing I have, 317 6th Avenue, the 12-year dilemma on the dumpster. The dumpster's gone, but I was driving down 6th Avenue the other day, and there's still the illegal curb cut there, and now you have 2 pickup trucks parking on the front yard, which it's illegal to park on the front yard in the city of Asbury Park. Through 12 years of this dilemma, we found out when they made the curb cut for the dumpster, they never got a permit, so it's basically illegal. So why are we not enforcing it, and when can we start enforcing it? And I'm hoping it's not going to be another 12 years. That's all I have. Thank you. Goodbye.
Nope, I don't have anything to...
Jesse? Joe? Amy? If she does, when she comes back. If not, Tony?
All right, the only matter I have is, all right, we finally have the municipal parking lot paved. All right, I want to thank everybody for putting up with the inconvenience over the last 2 weeks. All right, I anticipate that we are going to have the meter system put in within the next several weeks. All right, and then we would be moving towards paid weekend parking, all right, and evening parking in the municipal lot. That's all I have.
That was a great job, and I do appreciate the patience of the public, and I think all the public will say it was well worth it, because you look at it before and after, and it's night and day. So again, thank everybody for putting up with a week to 10 days of inconvenience, but well worth it. Definitely. Fred?
I don't have anything at this time.
Cindy?
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to open the meeting up to the public.
Move it. Second.
All right, the public is expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted. The chair will immediately rule such conduct out of order, and after appropriate warning, may terminate any further comments from the speaker. You do have a 3-minute time limit, and I ask if you please state your name and address for the record. Go ahead.
Okay. Rita Morano, 8th Avenue. In the code book, do they have, on the second chapter, I guess, do they have a title called treasurer? Because that was abolished a long time ago. Do you know if we still have that?
I don't believe so.
Finish all your questions. Use your 3 minutes.
Okay. The other thing, Tony mentioned the senior center. Is it in the code book that we pay $7,400 and something for a condo fee?
I don't think that would be in the
That
code.
wouldn't be listed in the code.
Well, does it say that we have a condo in the code book?
Go, Fitz.
No?
We're writing down your questions. Go ahead.
Okay. What was the other question? Oh, about the senior center. Is that in the code book that we maintain it? I think it's 44 point something that we maintain that building. And the other thing is, we don't get any rent out of it. They do, Interfaith Neighbors. So I was just wondering about that. The code book?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tony, I can fill in gaps if you
All
start.
right, I'll check on the position of treasurer. All right, I'm not quite sure if it's still in the code book. As far as the senior center goes, no, it's not in the code book about it being a condo. All right, it is in the code book that we do have a senior center that we would maintain, all right, and we would operate, all right, for the welfare of the seniors of Asbury Park. All right, as far as you mentioned that Interfaith gets rent, Interfaith does not get rent, all right, from us. All right, what's done with that building, or what was done with that building is that we are the co-owners of that building. All right, we own the entire second floor, all right, and we own one unit on the first floor, all right, and it's condoed out. All right, so that fee that we're talking about paying, all right, that's our quarterly condo fee. All right, the same as if you lived in a condominium or if you lived in a townhouse, you would have condo fees, all right, that you would pay.
No,
So it's not a rent.
isn't there 8 apartments over our floor?
That's rented, that's owned, that floor is owned by Interfaith Neighbors. Interfaith Neighbors own...
That's what I'm saying.
Well, they own the 3rd floor, they own 4 of the units, or 3 of the units on the 1st floor. We own the 2nd floor, and we own 1 unit on the 1st floor.
Which unit on the first?
The one that the police department is in.
The small unit? Well, I think that should be in the code book. I've looked at the code book. Is that over?
So the code book isn't like specific, I mean, it's specific about some things, but it's not, I disagree that should be in the
Well, it happens
maintenance
to
of
be
it.
the law of the city, in case you don't know it. That is the law, but nobody follows it. There's a lot of things in that code book that should come out because you don't follow them anyway. Look at it. Did you read-
I'm on the code committee, I've looked at the code book multiple times,
Okay,
Rita.
so you know there's a lot of things in there that don't...
And to be quite honest with you, we took a lot of things out and we added, we talked about one tonight, which was the quarterly reports. We added language that said, with the consent and advice of counsel, so it wasn't just a free-for-all in the code book. I mean, we did. I mean, we absolutely, this was hours upon hours of a process in modifying the code book. I'm not sure that I think, personally speaking, that the maintenance fees of the senior center, there can be a resolution, there can be a policy call on it. I don't know that needs to be in the code book. But, we'll think about it.
Well, we also paid $3 million,
Okay.
right?
Hello, I'm Gail Helfrich from Asbury Park. I can answer separately questions about this if you want, but I wanted to make sure you didn't make any change by tomorrow as you're going through the code book. Pam was mentioning that you were looking at committees that were maybe not appropriate anymore for the city. And you brought up the BDA, the Brownfield Development Area.
That we're absolutely
Steering Committee.
keeping.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because there's an outstanding grant that's just about to go in.
No, we're
and
absolutely
we don't
keeping it.
want to
It's
jeopardize
actually,
that.
it's
Okay.
in our WRA to have, I believe WRA, to have the brownfield. Springwood Ave. It's in one of our redevelopers agreement to have it.
Okay,
so
because you
it's
have an MOU
definitely-
too with the state of the DEP, so I want to make sure it's there.
Say it again. You can answer it, Pam. Say it again.
It was not in the code, and we are adding.
Okay.
Realize that.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding it, because it is in the MOU the state has with the DEP, and we have a grant going in for that, so that's all I had.
Hi, Council, Mayor. Louise Murray, Asbury Park, lifelong resident. Let's talk about that code book for a minute. I'd like to know if there is any penalty, if it is a penalty, if any of the codes are violated. And then along with that, I will go a little step further and say that at one point, there was a ordinance, no alcohol east of Ocean Avenue for a very, very long time. Council before you completely ignored it and decided to go with the developer and never even looked at that code. That's one. Number two, I was the one that caused a big upset about no bathing suits on the boardwalk. I'm back again, not about bathing suits, but I'll modify it to this extent. You have people sitting on the boardwalk eating. You want to make this a pleasant experience, quote Amy. I mean, it's not verbatim, but Amy wants to make it a pleasant experience to come to Asbury Park Boardwalk. Let's make it family-oriented, let's make it kid-friendly, and all of that. When you go into a restaurant, you have got to put a shirt on, you've got to put shoes on. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. I firmly believe that when you're walking on that boardwalk, let's modify it and have at least a shirt on. And shoes, if at all possible, because you don't want anybody to get splinters and sue the city of Asbury Park. The reason for the no bathing suit was, been here a long time, so I know. From the beaches from First Avenue down to Fifth, well, actually, it was Third Avenue, and Fourth Avenue, which always looked like Coney Island, because they catered to the people that came in from out of town. You would go to the bathhouses, you would change your clothes, put on your bathing suit, and there was a tunnel that went under the boardwalk out to the beach. That was the reason for no bathing suits on the boardwalk. So if you're a local girl like myself and you went to the First Avenue beach, you always went down there covered up. And if you decided you wanted to go on the boardwalk to get French fries or any of that stuff, we would almost like flip coins to see who was going to go because we had to put our cover up on. Nobody wanted to go, oh, I don't want to do that, you go. No, I don't want to do that. And that was the roundabout thing. On the other side of Convention Hall, we also had the bathhouses on 7th Avenue, which was of the same ilk. You went in, you changed, you took your shower, you did whatever, and you went, I believe, under the boardwalk. Maybe not, maybe you went over, whatever, it doesn't matter. How do you control this? I'll tell you how you control it. You just tell them, you blow a whistle, you say you need to put on a cover-up. You need to put on your shoes. I mean, I find it disgusting when you see a man sweaty, hairy chest, and I don't care if he's GQ or anything else, and I'm having something to eat because my husband, God rest his soul, never came to the table in a bare chest. So I find that one thing, and I find another thing is that, you have women that think they look like Bo Derek, and they don't, they completely don't. They almost look like whatever. So that's my issue. But I'm serious about that ordinance with no alcohol east of Ocean Avenue. How did that go down?
Okay, Louise, you're past your 3 minutes.
Okay.
Let me just answer the thing as far as your first question. Are there penalties? Yes, in Chapter 1, General Provisions, 1.51, it's maximum penalty, and it says what it is, unless a specific penalty is otherwise provided in connection with the provision violated. So if it's not covered, say like in Chapter 18, if it says you pay $30 for this fine, if it's not covered there, it's covered in Chapter 1, correct? Thank you. So that, and as far as what happened in the past with past councils and allowing liquor on the beach, it was done and it's there.
Well, yeah.
East of Ocean Avenue, I believe it's going to stay there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Jerry Scarano, Long Branch. What I wanted to say is, I figured out where the speed bumps were. On Monroe Avenue, I came down Monroe, and Neptune has 2 of them. They're the plastic ones. It's worth checking them out. We could use them. Then the other thing is, from now on, you thought it was a good idea. I think that was the idea that you thought was good, that every time a company asks for a tax abatement, we have to tap them for job requirements for local residents. You want a tax abatement? Good. We may give it to you if you follow our rules, not us follow their begging. Then the other thing is, all builders, when they get these tax abatements, there should be some way, some of that money that from the tax abatement should be funneled to promoting Asbury Park, because they should foot the bill for promoting Asbury Park. And every website that all companies have that do business in Asbury Park, we should ask them to promote living in Asbury Park. It's good to get people to keep saying, live in Asbury Park, because when I talk to people outside of Asbury Park, they all believe it's a great place to hang out and spend money, but none of them really want to move here. When I show them houses in other towns, and I tell them they could look at Asbury Park, but there's a problem there. And you have to remind the developer, then you have to remind yourselves, the developers are friendly people. They're not our friends. They're friendly people. They're here to make a living off of what we have here, the assets, the beach, the city. And the other thing is, I was at the memorial and I was glad to see you all there. It was really nice. But, I gotta tell you something. Like you said, the old council did their thing, they're gone. There's no need to ever mention their names ever again. They're the ones that caused the tax problem. So I thought you were kind for what you did, but I'm sure if the shoe was turned around, you would have never got a compliment from that person. Okay,
Maybe I had a better father.
that's it. I'm just letting you know, you're a very kind man. You know, with the website, with the code enforcement book, you know when you do Google search, you type in your question and it gives you a connection? We should have something like that with the website, so if you want to type in, I'm going to build a garage, then you put that into the website, and then the website tells you, here's all the ordinances that you may have to go to. I don't know how it could be worked out, but I just thought that would be a good idea. And that's it.
We have a search engine on the website that you can type in the word garage and anything related to garage.
It does come up, I didn't have to use it yet, okay.
Yep.
Right. Anybody have any answers to my questions about the speed bumps or anything like that?
The speed bumps, Deputy Chief Salerno and his staff are looking into. There's pluses and minuses to them, so it is being looked into, but we haven't made a decision.
Okay, and I'll try that website and see if I can figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Hi, Mayor, Council, staff. Warner Baumgartner, Fifth Avenue. First off, I have a suggestion. I notice you've taken to the habit of putting your name tags off the top there, and I know why, because it's tough to see the people sitting in front. It obstructs your vision. So my suggestion is that you get somebody to build you some name tags that you can hang, and they're below your line of sight, but they're still visible to the public, because this is taped. And people who watch this on TV, I'm sure would like to know who you all are.
Good idea.
Thank you. Second, the presentation by the Code Committee was fantastic. It's my understanding from listening to it that committees or commissions that are enabled by an ordinance are required to do minutes. Yet those that are ad hoc, that is like an advisory committee, like the parking committee or something, are not required. Is that correct? Okay,
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. I would like you to seriously consider, if possible, to make it mandatory that all such groups generate minutes. It's extremely important for the city's history and for continuity of knowing what is going on around here, that informal committees also generate a record of their activities. From the clerk's position, from the city's historian's position, from the public accessibility of knowing how a city operates and decisions are made and for what reasons, it's imperative that minutes are kept for all kinds of committees involving public decisions. So if you could add that to the code book, even though it's not required by law, probably, but I think all such bodies should be required locally to generate minutes that are then posted on the website so people know what's going on around here. What do you think?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Great. I'd love to see that happen. Because a lot of information has been lost over the years, over the decades. People, look and say, I don't know why they decided that. Well, you need a record of what goes on. Thank you.
I think it's a better idea because it's coming from the city historian who knows how much is missing in the past, and so.
I'm not going to take minutes, so
Nobody else?
Move to close.
Second.
Move to adjourn. Second. All in favor?